FaceMiners is a game that subverted my expectations. Initially, I expected it to be something along the lines of Papers, Please, but upon starting, I realized it was more of a cookie clicker clone. But this game does something special. It takes the idle genre and breathes some new life into it by turning it into more of an immersive, narrative-driven experience. Think of it as an automation game merged with a clicker game, done in a way that's remarkably concise. What stood out the most was how active the game was to me. It's super common in the clicker genre to run into walls where entire minutes will go by without having anything to do while you just wait for money to come in, but in FaceMiners, there's always something to engage with. Whether it's reading emails, upgrading systems, buying data, or interacting with any of the 5 other mechanics, there's a constant flow of stuff to do. It reminds me a lot of Doom Eternal's combat, where every single mechanic feels purposeful, and there's really not any unnecessary bloat, with the exception of 1 or 2 mechanics. At some point throughout the playthrough, you'll likely interact with just about every system in the game, and it all ties together seamlessly. Sometimes you'll be forced to backtrack to something you were doing before just to keep the ball rolling. It's a really satisfying loop. The game's mechanics are incredibly concise, and that's something I really appreciate in a game about automation. One criticism I do have is cooling is so overemphasized in the late game. By the final stages of the game, you're effectively just managing your cooling. For roughly 45 minutes at the end of the game, I was doing nothing but upgrading my cooling, and it just became tedious. Something I really liked was the progress visualizer. There is a program you can open up on the desktop that visualizes all of the upgrades you've gotten. So as you're buying these generators and coolers and adding to your CPU and whatnot, that actually gets built out into a real data center, and you can click on the visualizer and see what your data center has become as you progress through the game, which is super satisfying. The aesthetics of the game were really good. It was a late 90s computer interface, but that didn't take away from the UI. I realized the UI was incredible when I opened the FaceMiner suite of software, and every single window in that software suite was exactly where I wanted it, and I didn't move it for the rest of the game, despite having the option to. Now I want to talk a second about the music. The songs on their own were good. Despite the fact that I like the songs, I don't think it quite matched with the tone of the game. The game itself is staged in the late 90s, and the music is all trance and breakcore, which I'm sure they existed in the 90s in some form, but they definitely weren't popular. This is mostly just a nitpick, it's personal preference. I do think the music choice detracted from the overall vibe of the game. It wasn't bad, but it felt disconnected. The story of the game was actually really good. It's told through the emails that you get, some emergency broadcasts you'll start to see, and documents that FaceMiner corporate will send you. The emails you receive are oftentimes from other FaceMiners. You don't just get them from the company. As you progress through the story, you can see where everybody is excited about this new face mining thing, but as you keep on going and as you keep on consuming more and more power and wasting more energy and generating more heat, you start to see the other FaceMiners in your email panicking. They'll be talking about police sirens or natural disasters, and then some of them start saying they're still face mining but in fire suits. And it's super entertaining to experience what's going on in the outside world through those emails. I think the whole story was really an allegory for crypto mining. It mostly seemed like a commentary on the coins that get mined by processing effectively worthless transactions, which is exactly what detecting a face in a list of faces is. Like, there's no point in doing that, just like there's no practical use for mining a crypto coin. FaceMiner Corporate, the company that actually created the FaceMiner software, doesn't ever explicitly state its purpose. And of course, it doesn't make any sense that they want you to just send them faces that are correct, but it does hint that it's for AI data sets. That said, some of those documents that FaceMiner Corporate sends you that I mentioned earlier reference the impact of high temperatures on human genome, which makes me think that their goal wasn't so much training an AI as it was to just heat up the earth. The ending of the game was a bit bizarre. I got something called the Chosen One rank, which was funny because all the other ranks you get throughout the game will be stuff like Miner 1, Miner 2, Miner 3. So it was just funny that the last one was Chosen 1. But as the end cutscene actually played, there was this I can't even call it ambient because it was so loud, but there was this ambient background noise of what sounded like nuclear bombs and basically just the end of times going off, while it displayed an admin console to you. So it was cool that at the end of the game you became the system admin, but I didn't really get the chance to explore the admin console because the background audio was just so loud that it physically hurt my ears compared to the rest of the game. Now it's time to answer the question: Is it worth it? Face miners cost about $8 and it took me 3 or so hours to complete. It wasn't a perfect experience, but it was put together really well. I actually came back and played it 2 days in a row, which if a game gets me to do that, pretty good game. That said, I feel like it would be better priced around $5. And I think there's a decent chance the devs priced it at $8 on purpose because then they can put it on sale for $5 and ping people who have it on their wish list, which is a smart Steam trick. Regardless, the depth of story and tight gameplay mechanics don't really elevate at $8 past the gazillions of free-to-play counterparts in the clicker genre. Thanks for watching my review of FACEMINERs. This is my first video in this format, so I don't have any other reviews, but if you want to watch some of my older YouTube videos, YouTube will have some suggestions for you at the top left and top right. Thank you for watching.